Hey guys, this is 5 Rules. If you want to win a code, comment question of the day, comment down below and you'll be entered for a chance to win a breakpoint TCGO code. The question today is going to be Xerneas or Yveltal. Which Pokemon do you like more? I know it's kind of a simple question, but today I'm going to be doing a breakdown of my Yveltal Gallade deck. I don't run Zoroark in this deck. I feel like that kind of clunks things up a little bit, but this deck revolves more around getting out first turn Gallade. The first card I'm going to be talking about is 3 Yveltal EX. You kind of need this card. Its first attack, Evilball, for 1 dark and 1 colorless, does 20 damage plus 20 more for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. It's a really hard-hitting attack. Also was a better version of Mewtwo's X-Ball and Lugia's Arrow Ball, I believe it is. And then his second attack is also really good, Y Cyclone. It does 90 damage for a dark and 2 colorless, and you get to move an energy from this Pokemon to one of your benched Pokemon. So, if you're about to die, you can just move a double colorless off of Yveltal onto something that can use it after Yveltal goes down. So I'll just put these over here. I will show you the whole deck laid out after I finish going through the deck. Next up is 2 copies of XY Yveltal with the attack Oblivion Wing. That's pretty much all you're using it for. You'll pretty much never use Darkness Blade, but Oblivion Wing for 1 dark does 30 damage and allows you to attach a dark energy from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. This is great energy acceleration. It's also a good Night March counter, because Oblivion Wing one-shots a Joltik and also Pumpkaboo due to weakness. So, and you can one-shot a Mew with Muscle Band. So, this is a really good card. Definitely 2. And then I run another Yveltal. This one's from Breakpoint. It's Hollow 1. It's got the ability Fright Night. As long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, each Pokemon tool card in play has no effect. Now, this this ability is really nice. It removes Spirit Links. It removes. I've promoted this card before for knockouts, because my opponent had a Fighting Fury belt on them and they had like 170 HP and they had 180 damage on them, but they were living because of Fury Belt. So you just switch into this Yveltal and they die right away, because they lose that extra 40 HP. His attack's really nice as well. I don't know if you can see it too well, but it's for 1 dark, it does 2 colorless. Pitch Black Spear does 60 damage and then 60 to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon EXs. That 2-shot's a Shaman, so that's really nice. Math hitting, kill Shamans. It's great bench damage as well, just being able to snipe things off the bench. So definitely 1 in this deck. And then the next card we're going to cover is 2 Gallade. For the ability Premonition is really nice. Once during your turn before your attack, you may look at the top 5 cards of your deck and put them back on top of your deck in any order. So that just lets you rearrange all your cards, and this can be really nice for guaranteeing a top deck if you need like a double colorless next turn or a VS Seeker maybe. Whatever, you can guarantee it unless your opponent plays an N. So sometimes it does force your opponent to play an N on you, because they know you are probably top decking something good with Gallade. Then his attack is really nice too, for a 2 colorless, does 60 damage, and then if you played a supporter card from your hand during this turn, this attack does 70 more damage. So being able to do 130 damage for 2 colorless, and you should be playing a supporter every turn in pretty much every deck. This makes Gallade really nice. Hits some good math. 130 is pretty good damage. One-shots things like Xerneas, the Furious Fists, Landorus, Volcanion, when that comes out, Gallade can one-shot that. Then if you use like Muscle Band, you one-shot Crobat and Yveltal. Really nice math there, so I really like this card. I run 2 of him, and then I run 1 Marowak. Simply for the ability Bodyguard, prevent all effects of attacks done to you or your hand by your opponent's Pokemon. Remove any existing effects. This absolutely trashes on Seismitoad and Giratina, so anything that hurts Seismitoad and Giratina is nice. This does not remove things like Trevenant because you have to set it up before, and you can't really realistically maxi under item lock, so it's an option against Trev, but this deck is dark type, so you're very, very, very unlikely to get out a Marowak versus Trev, unless you go first and can miracle it out. The next cards we're going to talk about are Remoraid and Octillery. Remoraid simply to evolve, so nothing too special there, but Octillery, for the ability Abyssal Hand, lets you, once during your turn before your attack, you may draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. So this card, it never attacks. Pretty much the only time it'll be active is if you had a terrible start, or if it gets Lysandered out, in which case it's probably dead anyway. But Abyssal Hand just lets you draw it to 5. It's pretty much a worse version of Shaman, but you can use it every turn. This card's going to get a little bit better after rotation. I'll explain that in a future video. I know I keep saying that, but I'm really excited for that top 10. So Octillery goes there, and that's it for the Pokemon lineup. Moving on to energies, I run 7 Dark, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those back there. And then I run 4 double colorless energy. This card's really nice. It powers up Gallade in 1 turn, powers up the Breakthrough Yveltal, powers up Yveltal EX for either Evil Ball or Oblivion Wing. So this card's really nice, helps you set up extra energy. It also allows your Octillery to retreat if you're in a bad situation. So you can always do that. And now moving on to the supporters. Starting off the supporters, I run 3 copies of Professor Sycamore. This card's really, really good. Just lets you discard your hand and draw 7. This card used to be Juniper, it used to be Oak, used to be, I believe, Professor Elm also had the same effect, but this card's just pretty much always been around since base set. So it's really nice. I expect to see the next Professor in Sun and Moon get a print in the next set. I really hope this card stays in format because it's always been really good. Next card we get is N. This is another card that just doesn't die. We got this card originally, I believe, Dark Explorers or Noble Victories, whichever came first. I believe Dark Explorers came first. But we got this card and it was really good. It kind of took over the format a little bit. They made a few reprints, including one for a League promo, which kept it legal through Legendary Treasures until they switched over to XY. And then they reprinted this card in Fates Collide because we had like no draw support, or at least no shuffle support. We were down to using things like Professor Birch's Observations. People were using Shauna, people were using Judge, people were using Ace Trainer. That card lets you can only play it if you're losing, and it lets you shuffle in and draw 6 and your opponent draws 3. So that we were kind of in sad times without Anne. I'm really happy to get him back. His effect, each player shuffles his or her hand into his or her deck, then each player draws a card for his or her remaining prize cards. So if I have like 3 prize cards left and my opponent has 1, I get 3 cards, they get 1. This is a great card if you're losing, which it always happens, so it's a great comeback card. It potentially gives you hope at the end of a game. The next card we're running, 2 copies of Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick. Just lets you put a fighting Pokemon from your discard pile onto your bench and then draw 5 cards, with the caveat being that you can play this only when it is the last card in your hand. So trying to thin out your hand is pretty much what this deck is all about. We got 3 one-of supporters, just 1 copy Lysander. Every deck should run that. 1 copy of Giovanni's Scheme, which I really like this card. It has 2 effects. You draw cards until you have 5, or you can, during this turn, your Pokemon's attacks do 20 more damage. Really nice, helps your Gallade hit good numbers especially. But I have that, and then 1 copy of Hex Maniac, just shuts off abilities. Really powerful, every deck should run it. Moving on to the items now. I run 4 copies of VS Seeker. This card just lets you put a supporter card from your discard pile into your hand. It's a staple card for every deck right now. If you don't have them, you need to go get them. Next staple we run is 4 copies of Ultra Ball. Another staple just lets you discard 2 cards and search your deck for a Pokemon, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck afterwards. Staple card, never ever go without it. Another card that's kind of turned into a staple is Trainer's Mail. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal a trainer card you find there except for Trainer's Mail and put it into your hand, shuffle the other cards back into your deck. Really nice card for helping you thin out your hand and also get out supporters. A card that really makes this deck tick is Battle Compressor. Search your deck for up to 3 cards and discard them. Shuffle your deck afterward. Usually when you play Battle Compressor, you can discard 2 Gallades and a Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick. That lets you be able to VS Seeker later in the game for Maxie and get out Gallade. Battle Compressor, it's the easiest way to get things into the discard. It'll be a little sad once rotation hits and we'll lose it, but for now, Battle Compressor is still legal until September 1st, so I'm glad to have it right now. The next card we're running is a little bit of a gimmick card, to be honest, but this card's really good in decks that run Archie's Ace in the Hole or Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick. That's Maintenance. Shuffle 2 cards from your hand into your deck and then draw a card. It's really good for helping you thin out your hand, and sometimes that extra card can be clutch. There was one time I was playing against my brother, I can remember. I had 3 cards, including a Maintenance, and I just had a VS Seeker in my hand, nothing else in my discard pile. I Maintenanced my other 2 cards away, hoping that I could get something. I got a Battle Compressor, and I was able to get off the first turn Maxie. It was pretty clutch, so Maintenance will always have a spot in my heart. And the next card we run is 2 copies of Muscle Band, and going along with that, 1 copy of Fighting Fury Belt. And these cards all just boost damage. Muscle Band by 20, Fighting Fury Belt by 10, and then you gain 40 HP if you're a basic. So Yveltal goes up to 210, sorry, and Yveltal goes up to 270. So really nice, makes it a hard-hitting Pokemon while also sustaining health. The next cards we run are pretty much all one-of items, just tech cards. 1 copy of Switch, every deck should run 1 copy of Switch. 1 copy of Energy Switch. This card can be really nice if you, mainly it's used for Yveltal after you're done Oblivion Winging and you switch out into Yveltal EX. You can Energy Switch, gain a little bit more energy. It's also nice if you know a Pokemon's about to go down, you can Energy Switch it away. It's a really nice one-of. I definitely would recommend running that. Next card I run is Super Rod, another card that everybody should be running right now. It lets you just shuffle 3 cards into your deck, Pokemon or basic energy. And then the final card, or the final item card I run is Enhanced Hammer. It just lets you discard a special energy from one of your opponent's Pokemon. It's a really strong effect, especially right now when special energies are running rampant in the format. So it's really nice to run this card. Counters Night March pretty easily. And that's all for the items. Finally, the stadium cards. I run 2 copy of Reverse Valley. This just boosts your dark types by 10 if you play it this way, the way that if you just play it down like that. It lets your dark types do more damage. With the other side just meaning that your opponent's steel types take 10 less. Steel isn't going to be very popular, especially after rotation. And then finally, the last card in this deck is going to be 1 copy of Parallel City. This card lets you, if you play it down like this, it means that your opponent's bench goes down to 3. And if you play it like this, it means that their grass, fire, and water types are doing 20 less damage. If you play it like this, it really doesn't affect you because I don't run grass, fire, or water outside of artillery, but he can't even attack anyway. So Parallel City is a really nice card, especially after rotation. This card gets even more popular. It's really nice. And then I'm going to show you guys the entire deck in its completion. There's the whole lineup right there. I'm going to move the light there. So that's the entire deck. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is Rules signing out.